Hey Aries, welcome to your January 2025 predictions. What does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? What? Aries, I just heard it. Aries, it's slim pickings out there. Okay, Aries, well, as always, please only take what resonates, leave the rest behind, recognizing we're all on our own spiritual journeys and not a single soul has the same energy as you, Aries. Are you trying to choose something out in the ethers and it feels like slim pickings? If that's the case, Aries, and perhaps that's your mentality, and very much could be this, then the guides are asking you to perhaps switch your mentality up. Remember, Aries, that what we think is what we actually create into our reality. So if you're thinking there's very little to choose from, there's very little to choose from, there's very little to choose from, and that's your constant perpetual thought about whatever this is, Aries, then that's what's going to create in your reality. And then there very much will, from a very real and physical perspective, be very little to choose from. So if that's you listening, it's not slim pickings out there. Change that attitude around and say, you know, there's abundance out there for me to choose from, and it's going to be like, how do I even pick the right one, or something like that, right? Put it out there that there's abundance for you and for you to choose from, and you'll start to change your reality. Thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Aries, this is so weird, but I'm hearing like a crunching sound. It's like crunch, 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 crunch. It's like somebody's eating chips or something like that. And I really have no clue what this is meant to tell you, Aries, other than that's what I'm hearing. So take that if it resonates. Let me know in the comments below, because they're not giving me anything else. It's just like crunch, 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 crunch. Okay, thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Aries, I see you doing something in January 2025 that is very physical and tangible, but you're doing it almost like a ritual, but you're only ever going to do it once, and it's very symbolic. So let me give you an example, Aries. It's like perhaps you are walking along a path and you notice, this is just a very tangible example. So you're walking along a path, like you're on a hiking trail or something, and it's like all forest around you, and then it opens up for a little bit into kind of like a field, and then it goes back into kind of like a forest landscape. I see you, Aries, like saying something to yourself or declaring something while you're in the forest part, and then you're basically saying like, when I step over this kind of threshold, which means when it goes from the forest to the field, I have entered into a new reality. It's like you're almost creating, my whole body is chills right now, Aries. It's almost like you're creating like your own energetic portal through your imagination, but you're doing it very tangibly to say, once I cross this bridge, that's it. I'm now this new version of myself. It's that kind of vibe. It's very powerful, Aries, and it's a good way to use your imagination, but in the very physical sense, to work with your energy. Thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Interesting, Aries. I just heard some of you will be on the news or creating news, or you are the news. That's a lot going on there, Aries. Aries, I always like to think of people, or I always like to remind myself that I am the news. Now, I'm not saying this to myself from an ego way. I'm reminding myself that I create my reality. And if I create my reality, then aren't I creating my own news? And if I'm creating my own news, then aren't I the news? And so it could be that kind of vibe where you're kind of stepping into and realizing you are your own creator. The other option here is maybe you very much are going to be on the news for something. I hope it's something great, Aries. And otherwise, it could be that you're really expanding out to a broader audience, like kind of like social media, where you're building out your social media audience, something like that. Thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Yeah, it's like, okay, so this could be separate, but it could kind of coincide and go together. But I just heard like you're placing a bet, but then it's like I'm betting on myself. So you're taking like some sort of calculated risk. It almost feels like you're taking a calculated risk, Aries, in some way that's going to maybe expand your social reputation, that's maybe going to put you front and center of something, but you know what you're doing, it's intentional, and you're like, I'm just going to put this bet on myself and I'm going to see how it goes. It's intentional, but it's also kind of like yeah, let's just like throw the dice, kind of like nonchalant at the same time. And I think because Aries, because you're putting intention behind it, but you're also kind of just like throwing it to the wind and kind of like it's like a see what happens. Because of that combination of energies, you're going to be successful. Go on, Aries. Let me know in the comments below if this resonates with you. I want to congratulate you and cheer you on. Thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Aries, I just heard the word actionable items. This feels very like corporate energy. So if you're in a career or something, oh, maybe it makes sense in January 2025, you might be reviewing your kind of goals or your performance evaluation type setup for the rest of the year. And you're like, these are the actionable items I'm going to work on or whatever. These are the projects I'm going to take on. It's that type of vibe. So that's something I don't know. It just seems like you're doing now. If you are your own boss, like myself, then maybe you are setting it up for yourself and you're like, okay, if I do XYZ things every single day, I'll get this, right? And definitely going along with the idea around consistency will bring you results. Thank you. What else does Aries need to know for January 2025, please? Some of you might be finding some inner peace that you've never experienced before. And some of you might be, I don't want to say going back to religion, but some of you might be reviewing your ideas around religion and what it really means, and maybe doing some combining of your spirituality with some of the religious beliefs that maybe you were brought up in that still resonate with you, but kind of combining the two to make it your own kind of spiritual vibe. Because I heard peace be with you, and then I heard and also with you, and that's very much a religious kind of exchange. But it doesn't feel like you're like in a church or anything. It just feels like you're kind of picking out pieces that really resonate with you now where you're at in your journey. And it's like perhaps you've released maybe some negative connotations about something as it relates to religion. Thank you. Aries, what an interesting message for January 2025. Let me know in the comments below if any of it resonates with you, and make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and share. When you do subscribe, hit the notification bell so YouTube lets you know when I'm live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I discuss spirituality, energy healing, perspective shifting, and manifesting your best reality. And Aries, if you'd like to work with me, make sure to check out the description box below.